It says we're live.
All right.
Hi, welcome to hell. No,
Hello. Welcome to the videos no one watches.
the stream that nobody's heard of. Still an untitled stream, really. We don't know that we're going to call this weekly thing of ours. Uh, Not entirely sure it was entirely planned either, but some sadistic monster has decided to agitate me, and I'm about to make him pay for it. And here, oh damn phone! You don't have to tell me I'm live. I had all but I had everything, all my alerts turned off, except for I apparently didn't turn off my YouTube alert. Um,
Professionalism.
I know, but screen share, something to make you happy. Mind you, this came out March 27th.
Hmm.
I'm not sure how I missed it, but here we go. Smile, old man. 15 ways Lord of the Rings has aged poorly.
Oh, they can kiss my ass. There's nothing for about those movies.
Oh, yes, this is from CBR.
I don't
Oh,
know who that
boy.
is.
You know, I'm not even going to give Khan here any credit, or Jennifer Roy, or Jordan here, or Sean. I'm not trying the first name there. I'm not trying the last name there. Fuck you, Sean. Despite being a significant benchmark in fantasy epics, J.R.R. Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings franchise hasn't entirely stood the test of time. Kiss my ass. All right. Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien. This was largely responsible for modern fantasy Tolkien's idea to make a fairy story written for and read by adults. Proved to be incredibly popular, and his work continues to live on today. However, like many books that came out in the 1950s, some elements of Tolkien's work haven't aged particularly well. A franchise having outdated elements doesn't mean that they are bad things just because certain elements of Lord of the Rings have fallen out of fashion in contemporary literature. Doesn't mean they can't still be enjoyed. However, some parts of the books and the beloved films have aged poorly because they are problematic and offensive in ways that went uncorrected at the time.
Good God.
Whew. Updated March 26, 2024 by Jennifer Roy. Uh,
Ugh.
yeah, let's see, continue to have a major influence Peter Jackson's trilogy that have aged poorly. This list is updated to meet CBR's current formatting guidelines. This article came out a day after you updated it. Just think about that. March 27th, right there. Can't miss it. March 24th. 26th, sorry. Yeah, well, there might be a 24 somewhere in here. Shall we get to this horrible, horrible thing?
Sure.
Return of the King's many endings. Return of the King fades out 4 separate times. Yes, it did. Much to the distress of my bladder, but much to my entertainment nonetheless. Return of the King may be considered to be one of the greatest book discrete adaptations of all time, even going on to win the Academy Award for Best Picture, but it isn't perfect. One of the few things that viewers consistently find annoying about the film is its ending. which drags on despite numerous scenes that could have been terrific closing moments. Alone, after the main plot wraps up, Return of the King fades to black twice, only to return again and again. Another ending comes as Frodo, Bilbo, and Gandalf join the elves in the Undying Land, this time fading to white. Even then, the film refuses to finish with one additional scene depicting Sam's life in the Shire before finally rolling credits. All right, number 14. There are some unpopular changes from the books. Major characters like Tom Bombadil and Glorfindel are cut from the films. I'm going to make this real simple. Yes, Tom Bombadil was was important in the books. Well, in Fellowship of the Ring. There's a catch. Do you want to turn the first Lord of the Rings, turn the Fellowship of the Ring into a 13-hour movie? I do, but most people won't be willing to sit there through a 13-hour movie. Just saying.
Yeah.
And that's just Fellowship of the Ring. Don't get me started on Two Towers and Return of the King. You're increasing in hours. Trust me. One of the most consistent complaints about the Lord of the Rings movies is that certain characters from the books are cut out entirely. Characters like Tom Bombadil are left out of the movies, whereas others like Glorfindel have their roles significantly decreased. At the time, the absence of such characters was seen as a necessary sacrifice in order to fit the wide-scoping story of Lord of the Rings into three movies. However, in the age of streaming, many book adaptations are finding themselves capable of padding their runtime with characters and stories from the original stories. As a result, the absence of certain characters in Lord of the Rings becomes more unsatisfying over time. No, I'm not. I don't see it as diminished in any way. I really don't.
Nope. Not at all.
Important scenes are missing in the theatrical cuts. Saruman's death is only included in Return of the King extended cut.
I got him landing right on that spike.
I still hear poor Pippin. The gasp. It's not even how he died in the book, if you want to complain. In the Lord of the Rings fan base, there exists a major division between those who prefer the theatrical cut of the films and those who prefer the extended editions. Haven't met one yet. But I'm not saying they aren't out there, but I still haven't met one yet. As long as the extended editions are, they include some important scenes that help explain the story better. If viewers only watch the theatrical cuts, however, they will miss major plot points. I don't know. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. The most notorious example of this unfortunate trend is the end of Saruman the White. In the extended edition, Saruman is killed in the opening scene of Return of the King. The theatrical cut, however, makes no mention of his gruesome demise, leaving the uninitiated viewer completely unaware of his fate. Number 12. The Hobbit changes aspects of the original trilogy. The prequel trilogy condensed the timeline of the Lord of the Rings trilogy. As is the case with many prequels, the Hobbit films have a negative impact on the Lord of the Rings trilogy itself. Taking place decades before the events of Fellowship of the Ring, the three Hobbit movies attempt to set up the events of the original trilogy but ultimately make the franchise timeline more confusing. The Hobbit trilogy adds storylines, including one wherein Gandalf, Saruman, Elrond, and Galadriel face off against a mysterious necromancer who turns out to be Sauron himself. While they emerge victorious, they are still aware that Sauron remains a threat. Sauron's sabotage excluded. This storyline makes some of Lord of the Rings' wisest characters seem foolish as they whittle away the next several decades when they could have been preparing for Sauron's inevitable return. Okay, little bit of hiccup on that one. Okay, now you mentioned it was decades before, ignoring how old Bilbo is. That's one. Two, they knew Sauron still existed as long as the ring existed. That was even implied in Fellowship of the Ring.
Yeah.
So they knew he was not dead, and he was still at that point able to start trying to reform his body. He just would never have full power as long as he didn't have the ring, because part of his soul was in the ring, basically. The essence of him was in the ring. Part of him was in there. Still function without the ring. It just took a long time for him to, remake himself. And he wasn't there, and luckily he was stopped before then. Oh God, Lord of the Rings
Oh
will
god.
inevitably be rebooted. Go to hell. Amazon is already working on new Lord of the Rings projects. Oh, give me those. Take that away. Take that away. In an age of constant remakes and reboots, it is unfortunately inevitable that almost every popular franchise will be reborn in the next few years. Yeah, because you're all talentless hacks. The Harry Potter series has already been confirmed for a Max reboot with Twilight not far behind. I don't know how you can make crap more crap, but I'm sure they'll try. As such, it is. I'm sorry, sparkly vampires. Go to hell. It
Yeah.
is only a matter of time before the Lord of the Rings itself will be rebooted as well. Well, depending on how much you're willing to fight Warner Brothers and the Tolkien estate. And depending on if Christopher Tolkien's son is actually going to be loyal to the family or if he's just going to sell out, which is an unfortunate probability. While reboots occasionally improve on the originals, there is no way in hell Amazon could. It is very rare that they are as well regarded or as well loved. A film franchise as beloved as Lord of the Rings, which is the pinnacle of book to book screen adaptations, doesn't need to be rebooted. In fact, any remake would be highly unlikely to win the affection of audiences the same way that the originals did. Yet, with the Rings of Power spin-off series already airing and works in development, a full Lord of the Rings reboot is already a foregone conclusion. Look, before we go further, this crap right here means that everybody should apologize to Peter Jackson for giving him crap over The Hobbit. Okay? This crap right here is unforgivable. Okay?
Yeah.
Elijah Wood in some scenes is awkward. Jake Gyllenhaal was reportedly in the running to play Frodo Baggins. Oh dear God, please no. Boy, we dodge a bullet on that crap. The Lord of the and fact of the matter is, and one of the big changes that Peter Jackson did, Frodo isn't an old man. They weren't. They weren't. They weren't in their 20s or anything like that. Whenever they went on their adventure, they were old. They were in the 50s. They were old men. Lord of the Rings had a star-studded cast, 50s and older, by the way. Sparkling performances like by the likes of Ian McKellen, Viggo Mortensen, and movies iconic as they are considered today. However, when rewatching Lord of the Rings movies, one notices Elijah Wood's acting as Frodo Baggins falters more than once. Go to hell.
It does?
There were some, huh?
It falters? I didn't notice.
No, I have not noticed it. Been falling from when I saw it in the theater years ago to rewatching it last week. Um, there were some awkward moments when Elijah Wood's performance as the beloved Hobbit seemed forced and even comical, like when Frodo collapsed after Gandalf sacrificed himself in his battle with the Balrog. If you're going to call it, Balrog is not its name. Its name was Durin's Bane, you dick. At least get something correct in this. His acting leaned towards the dramatics of constantly screaming and being in pain, which got old quickly. Elijah Wood was great as Frodo, but some of these moments detracted from his performance.
Here we go.
Yes. What the hell is that? Weta FX, I guess.
Yeah.
Weta FX provided. Well, I don't know. It has the little chicken thing above the E and the A. I don't know what the hell to do with that. provided the CGI for the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Yeah, do you realize how old it is? Sorry, CGI has definitely advanced. Not for the better in every case, but it has definitely advanced. All the visual effects and CGI work in the Lord of the Rings movies were groundbreaking, even winning Academy Awards. No shit. However, when viewed after 2 decades, certain scenes look clunky and less than refined, especially for modern day viewers who are used to slicker, more realistic CGI. Oh my god. Oh boy.
Modern viewers.
Oh boy. Modern day we're just going to stick to the CGI. Resident Evil Netflix. Just putting that out there. One particular scene that stood out was Frodo's fever dream in the Fellowship of the Ring, when he was injured by Nazgul's Morgul blade. As Frodo dreamed in Rivendell, a translucent Elrond swayed in and out of sight. This particular scene felt jarringly different from the rest of the movie and resembled a bad music video. It looked out of place and still feels strange when viewers watch it today. No, it doesn't.
What? That's not right.
This hurts my head. You asked for this. I'm willing to punish myself going through this. Yeah, after your comment earlier, you're getting this. Random characters show up momentarily. Well, it's better than characters that didn't exist at all showing up in Rings of Power, but we'll go from there. And pointlessly dying. Or characters that did exist doing things they never should have because they didn't do it in the books at all. Weren't even in the area or alive. The Lord of the Rings includes some characters from the Silmarillion. Hey, dipshit! Elrond was in the Silmarillion. Yeah, Galadriel was in the Silmarillion. Come on.
But was Galadriel in there?
No, Galadriel was definitely not in the Silmarillion. The Silmarillion and some of Tolkien's other writings, which were compiled into the history of Middle Earth, covered a lot of the world's history. Some characters from these writings, notably the elf Glorfindel, make minor appearances in the Lord of the Rings, but barely influence the plot before leaving. Tolkien fans love these cameos, but many modern readers are frustrated by them. Readers of contemporary fantasy, like us, all go to hell, are used to characters sticking around and second verse same as the first. Go to hell. Spreading contributions over. Though this element of Tolkien's writing may have a oh mm, the pain, the heat. Sorry, stream. I have to take a moment. This is the amount of bullshit in one paragraph, man. You're comparing that hack, that oversized Keebler fucking elf, responsible for not finishing his books, any of his series. He has not finished not one damn series he has made. Way to go, Martin. You're trying to say that he's somehow better than a guy who literally created an entire language and a book series to make a sort of like a lore for it so people could understand. Yeah. the guy who's responsible for most of the dictionaries at the time. Yes, because he wrote the damn thing. I'm not talking Elvish dictionary. I'm talking about our regular Merriam-Webster dictionary. A lot of those words, Tolkien. Come on. Okay. Yes. Makes surprising contributions to the overall plot. Really? How does it end? Though this element of Tolkien's writing it didn't age poorly, you hack. In novel form, having cameos from random characters seems to work for other franchises, like the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Really? How's that paid off? Looks like a dumpster fire right now to me. Heroes seem invincible. Boromir is the only member of the Fellowship to permanently die in the Lord of the Rings. Helps if you read the books. Saying. Oh yeah, they're invincible. Yeah, you got one guy gets his finger bitten off. They all get battered and beaten all to hell. I mean, it's just lazy hack. Jackson was trying to follow as much as he could to be faithful to the books, as much as he could within reason.
Yeah.
These idiots can't even figure that out. Well, it's not surprising whenever they try to compare Lord of the Rings to a Song of Ice and Fire. Lord of the Rings.
Huh? I would be interested to be in the room when someone has watched this trilogy for the first time.
Oh, that would be fun. I don't know if Julie's actually watched it. I may have to see.
There you go.
She's going to hurt me. Lord of the Rings largely centers on a war. A war veteran writes down. What about Theoden? What about Theoden? He didn't live. He could have got crushed by a horse. My body is broken. No shit, Sherlock. You got a horse on you. Considering these facts, it's strange that none of the main characters, he was a main character, died. In fact, the only member of the Fellowship to die a permanent death is Boromir. Well, no shit. Of course, a character doesn't have to die to be affected by war. Tolkien himself knew that very well. However, modern audiences have the perception that characters dying and other dark elements make a work of fiction more realistic. Some readers may feel that a story where all the main heroes survive is outdated based on what they expect from newer garbage. I mean, books. Look, just because Martin likes to slaughter as many characters as he can doesn't mean it's a good thing. He still can't finish a book. He can go to hell. Damn Keebler elf. Some main characters lack agency. Merry and Pippin have the least agency of the Fellowship. Contemporary readers like their principal characters to have agency in their story, and characters who don't are often maligned. A good example might be Twilight's Bella Swan, whom many readers dislike due to her passive role in the narrative. I thought it was just because it had to be garbage. I mean, I made the mistake of reading the synopsis on the back of the book once because I was stuck at a doctor's office and it was sitting there. And quite frankly, I'd much rather go through and get another bone marrow biopsy. I only had 4 of those things. They hurt, but still more pleasurable than the idea of reading that book. In The Two Towers, Merry and Pippin are largely passive characters. They begin the book captured by a pack of orcs and stay that way until the Rohirrim kill the orcs and allow Merry and Pippin to escape. With little effort. Later, they become passive observers of the Ent's destruction of Isengard. Even the team behind the Two Towers film adaptation thought that modern audiences would be unhappy with the depiction of the hobbits and updated their story to make them a bit more involved.
Hmm.
Leave it alone, leave it alone.
How do you get through this article?
I don't know. I don't know how I'm making it through this, and I'm at 5, 10 down. We're in the bottom 5 of the bullshittery. No, the story takes a while to get started. Frodo leaves the Shire over 40 minutes into the Lord of the Rings. Okay, and oh, maybe you got to read the book and see how many chapters you go through before he actually leaves the Shire. Okay, you can come back to me and complain that it took 40 minutes. Not complaining. I enjoy the idea of more time in the Shire. It looks like the idealistic place to live. So peaceful and relaxing. I'd be happy in a place like that.
Yeah.
Unlike a lot of modern media that tries to hook audiences as quickly as possible, The Lord of the Rings takes some time to establish the story. In an oversaturated landscape of fiction, it makes sense that books need to do everything they can to hook readers right off the bat because The Lord of the Rings books were published in a very different setting. They don't have the same sense of urgency. For audiences who are used to fantasy stories that start during an exciting action scene or else at the book's climax, the Fellowship of the Ring's opening will likely feel quaint and outdated. Were it to be published today, readers might not make it through the somewhat dry explanation of what a hobbit is, since reading habits have evolved. Go to hell.
Wrong.
You're absolutely dead wrong. What, did you have somebody else read it? You get a synopsis from a person who hates anything that isn't propaganda for your particular mindset? Dipshit. Sucking off Martin ain't going to make him make that book any faster. He's going to die before he releases it. I guarantee it. Even if he releases this one, he's got 2 more to go. That old bastard won't make it to the end. At least Tolkien did. The Lord of the Rings movies lack diversity. Oh, you can fuck right off with that.
Here we go.
Oh,
I was
right.
wondering when it would get there.
Go right to fucking hell with that. Oh, Amazon's Rings of Power was heavily scrutinized over its diverse cast. It was heavily scrutinized because it was shit. It was god awful, painful garbage, and you worried so much about damn diversity. Kiss my ass. How about you go make your own god awful fantasy piece using your whole diversity requirements instead of trying to fuck up what was good and great in this world? All that was once good and green in this world, you must burn it to the ground for the sake of diversity. What the hell? Make your own and see how it goes. Oh, wait, you don't have a creative bone in your body. All you know how to do is destroy. Book readers would agree that Lord of the Rings novels are diverse, featuring a vast number of races shown in its fantasy world. However, the movies didn't cast any black actors to depict these varied characters, which is instantly noticeable upon rewatch. Go to hell. Not one time did I even give a flying fuck about that. I mean, jeez. Oh, wow. I guess you watch Blade because you want to see a black person. I watched Blade because it was entertaining. I don't care what he fucking looked like. It was entertaining. But no. Godforsaken race grifters always trying to find some way to be a victim. Oh, it's not diverse enough. Well, make your own shit and stop ruining ours. You draw more flies with honey than vinegar. Are we sitting? I guess
How's that blood pressure doing?
It's fine. Diversity in cinema is more important. No, more important than ever, and a lack of it in older movies can take away from the experience. All right, before we go further, I watched Gone with the Wind today, and they had to give their little sensitivity warning at the beginning.
Oh my God, are you shitting me?
I wish I was. And we're going to see the same thing when we go see Blazing Saddles.
Yeah. God.
Yeah. Fuck you. Swear to God, somebody's going to swear I have Tourette's by the end of all this. If I keep reading articles that are this dumb, I'm going to end up with Tourette's. Why not? I've got vertigo. Let's add something else to it. It'll definitely make roller coasters more fun. Diversity in cinema is more important than ever, and the lack of it in older movies can take away from the experience of said movie. The casting of actors contributes to, I am not going to use their little acronym. It seems awful. Insulting to increasing visibility and acceptance for all kinds of stories. They're right fucking stories instead of ruining good ones that are already there. Yes. Not just ones about white people. Oh, well, now we get to the heart of it. You're a racist. Even if Lord of the Rings was inspired greatly by Norse and British myths, there was a way. No, you just nailed it. Everything after that is eat a dick on your whole idea of making it diverse. There was a way to make it more diverse in the movies, as seen in Garbage. I mean, not only there is a reason why characters look the way they did in Jackson's Lord of the Rings. A very particular reason. Because when it came down to it, other than a few minor changes, like Mike with Aragorn, there were some changes. He didn't have a beard for a reason. But there were characters were described very intricate detail by Tolkien. And to change that, you would not be making what he made. And quite frankly, you would have ruined it. Diversity can go to hell. Just shut up your ass and die. Um, Final scenes in The Return of the King needed more words. No.
What?
Frodo's reunion with the Fellowship is ultimately underwhelming. One of the concluding scenes of the Lord of the Rings trilogy depicted Frodo seeing Gandalf again in Return of the King, and then meeting the rest of the Fellowship. Compared to the rest of the movie, this scene was peculiar since all the characters were only laughing in slow motion with no words being said to each other. The slow motion lasted. Oh, you! I bet you gave a glowing review of Rebel Moon. Uh, this is far too long, which made it a bizarre watch. The ending had a lot of heart, and much was communicated between the characters without words. But these individual elements came together rather clumsily. Hmm. Some races have been typecast. Oh my god. It is implied that every orc and goblin in Lord of the Rings is evil. In Lord of the Rings, there are certain races depicted as universally evil, which is a cringy fantasy trope. The orcs, Urks, and goblins, for instance, only appear as evil antagonists, which homogenizes an entire species in a rather boring manner. Tolkien said, "Nothing is evil in the beginning," which is a good sentiment. However, when Lord of the Rings portrays every character from a race as evil, it indulges in a binary way of thinking, which lacks nuance, is depicted even if the races depicted are fantasy races. The idea that a group of people was all born with the same immutable qualities is outdated. Before we go any further on this, because oh boy, would you mind looking up, see if you can do a quick search, old man, on Tolkien's description of how orcs came to be?
Okay.
And that should settle that bullshit. Because well, let's. Oh look, the woman is the reason for Aragorn dying a bit younger than the rest of Dunedain. It's all the soup. It's that soup that she brought him. It shortened his life. But
It looks like there were several interpretations.
yeah, but specifically from Tolkien, there were several.
It says the origin of the orcs is never definitely explained in J.R.R. Tolkien's works. Throughout the years, he changed the explanation, but he was doubtful because of the theological implications of an evil race and the relations of Fea and Hroa in his cosmology. As Tolkien died without deciding on his final explanation, the canonicity of the origin of orcs is a popular debate in the fandom. First conception is the Book of Lost Tales describes created orcs or goblins directly from Earth. So from stone is what it says, bred from stone. And then another one says based on elves.
Yep. That's a more common one. Based on elves, they were kind of corrupted and changed into what they are. Because of one of Tolkien's quotes, that's one of the ones that people kind of latch onto more is evil cannot create, it can only corrupt that which good has made. Goblins are a little different. Orcs are pretty specific. They come with different ways. But it's still the principle. Screw you.
Yeah.
I mean, you're complaining about this, and yet just a few moments ago, oh, white people, bad. Go to hell.
Yeah.
I don't know. Fantasy race. Can't have evil there, but white person? Oh, it's guaranteed evil. Yes. Satan. No. Don't care. All right. Tolkien's world features very few women. No female main characters interact throughout the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Oh, is there a reason you got rid of Galadriel? Reason you don't have a picture of her? Oh, up here you'll have Galadriel's picture, but you don't have a regular picture of Galadriel? You know, Kate Blanchett? Just saying. Wonder why that's out, considering she was a rather important character throughout. Never mind. We'll leave it alone. Lord of the Rings is largely a story about male characters. The female characters in Tolkien's work are largely sidelined or defined by their relationships with men in the story. By today's standards, this type of storytelling doesn't really hold up. Go to hell. Similar to ensuring there is good representation across races is also important for media to portray characters of multiple genders. There's only two. Throughout Tolkien includes some great moments for his female characters, notably Eowyn slaying the Witch King. The women don't feel like individuals with their own lives. And for the love of God, did you even read? There's a reason why they're not showing Galadriel. She was one of the best. She's probably my favorite character from any of Tolkien's work. For a reason. Probably why I'm so pissed off at the cock rings of power. I mean, because they took one of the best characters written and shit on it by making it Galadriel. Ooh, it isn't enough. She isn't prominent enough. We can't have this. We have to make it more manly. If it gets anything from a male, it loses all of its agency. It can't take anything from anything else. It must be the bestest of all. It must jump out in the middle of the fucking Atlantic Ocean with no food or water and somehow swim 1,000 miles back. No, it's going to die. And it says in one, I believe the second or third episode, pops off the couch. Yeah, I would have died. Well, no shit, Sherlock. If it wasn't for a mystical, magical shipwreck boat floating up to save them. Bullshit. Oh, it's a dumpster fire. Oh, God. That's just the amount of hatred. Okay. Let's see. Do they have any comments on this? No, just there's comments on it. All I don't care about the contributors because fucking douche nozzles. Okay, we're gonna stop sharing this. I gotta go away from that before my brain melts further.
I need to swap my laundry real quick. So
Okay.
I'll be right back.
That's fine. That's fine. Yes, I am sorry about that stream. I'm just. Whew. It's fine. It's fine. It's not fine. It's absolutely god awful. What the hell is wrong with these people? You know what? We're going to get to something a little bit more um, pleasant. If I can get it to pull up, I'm very sorry, man. Have a little problem seeing things. Got my head going. My vertigo's kicking in pretty bad, so I'm having to watch how I'm scrolling the screen. It's a little rough for me. And we shall buy time for the old man to get back. That's all he's got to do is swap plundering. But you know what? I can go ahead and read it and go back over it. Ridley Scott's Alien returning to theaters ahead of new sequel's release. The original film of the franchise will be hitting the big screen ahead of the release of Alien Romulus. This was published 4 hours ago, by the way, by Jeremy Dick. No, at least I don't have to worry about mispronouncing his name. Okay. Ridley Scott's Alien is coming back to the big screen 45 years after its original release in theaters. Months ahead of Alien Romulus, in the fall, it has been revealed that the original film franchise will be returning to theaters on April 26, 2024, which happens to be the annual Alien Day. The news was announced by the official X account for Alien, which revealed that Alien will be streaming for a limited time starting April 26th. No information has yet been revealed about when tickets will go on sale or just how long the film will be screening. The post included an original poster from Alien, which filmgoers saw in theaters back when the original movie was released in 1979. Yes, I want it. Come on. Give it to me. Give it to me now. Alien, the film that spawned a massive franchise that is still ongoing, was directed by Ridley Scott. Dan O'Bannon crafted a story with Ronald Shusett, yes, with the former writing the script. Alien introduced Sigourney Weaver as Ellen Ripley, one of pop culture's most beloved characters, who'd return in 3 following sequels. The first film also starred Tom Skerritt, Veronica Cartwright, Harry Dean Stanton, John Hurt, Ian Holm, and I'm sorry, Yaphet Kotto, I guess. If I'm reading that, it's Yaphet. No, that explains things. Way to go, Seth MacFarlane, on that one. But anyways, before we go any further on this is something key. Introduces Sigourney Weaver as Ellen Ripley. Yeah, they talk about no major. You hear from these other writers and stuff talking about, well, there was no main women that were a main part of the movie, no main headline star. Yeah, she was. Long before you get somebody like Jennifer Lawrence, which tries to say, oh, there's never been one before me. Go to hell. Sorry, Jennifer Lawrence sucks at her job. She's not particularly a good actress. But, all right, we'll go for it. The plot description for Alien reads, in deep space, the crew of the commercial starship Nostromo is awakened from their cryo sleep capsules halfway through their journey home to investigate a distress call from an alien vessel. The terror begins when the crew encounters a nest of eggs inside the alien ship. An organism found inside an egg leaps out and attaches itself to one of the crew, causing him to fall into a coma. God, that original rubber suit. And you can see the sleeves. You can see the cups on the sleeves where it goes into the gloves. Somebody experienced a bukkake. That was back when it was more suspense. Another Alien movie comes to theater in 2024. The next movie in the series, Alien Romulus, is also coming to theaters this year. It is the seventh overall installment of the series, but it goes back in time with its place in the timeline, as it's set in between the events of Alien and its first sequel, 1986's Aliens. However, it will follow an all new cast of characters, following a young crew of space colonists who encounter the xenomorph while exploring a derelict space station. Faye Alvarez directed the new film with a screenplay he co wrote with Roto. Yeah, Ridley Scott serves. You pronounce that. Oh, you ass. Uh, Fine. Sayagis.
Sayagwez. I don't
Segway.
know.
I don't, sorry, dude. I just don't care. If I heard your name, I would actually probably I'd be able to say it. That's the problem. I have to hear her name to be able to say it. Scott serves as producer on the project alongside Walter Hill and Michael Pruss, I guess. It stars Kaylee Spaney, I guess. David Johnson. Weird way to spell that. Johnson.
Yeah.
Archie Renault. Isabella Mercedes. Spike Fern. 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 We're going Fern. Hi, Fern. And Aileen Wu. Alien will be hitting theaters April 26, 2024, while Romulus will be premiering on August 16th, 2024. Yeah, they announced it, but they haven't announced what theaters or anything yet. And this article came out, it was published 4 hours ago, according to this. So.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah, on April 26th, I'd like to go see the original Alien.
Yep.
Yeah. Please be in a regal. Alrighty. I figured that was a nice filler one to go over. No, 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 no. We will not.
Yes.
No, no. I'm not doing that. Not that article. Nope. Mm-mm. I'll tell from spite. I am not doing that article. Let's see. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Oh, here we go. Something that was all fake last week, but maybe, just maybe, it'll come in handy this week. Can't play the new trailer, but we can do this. Those About to Die trailer reveals first look at Anthony Hopkins in Gladiator series. So it's not a movie, it's a series.
Wow.
Peacock has shared their first teaser trailer for Anthony Hopkins' new series. Anthony Hopkins will soon be seen in his next role, starring in Peacock's upcoming series Those About to Die. On Sunday, the streamer shared the first official teaser trailer for the series along with a premiere date, announcing that the show will drop all 10 episodes on Thursday, July 18th because we're just going to abandon and go
Nice.
straight for the binge model. Why not?
Binge to win.
Yeah, that just screams they don't have much faith in it. Um, this will be the first, especially after they just canceled that Quantum Leap series. Yeah, it did not get renewed. It got shafted. This will be the first major role in a series since Hopkins was featured as one of the stars of HBO's Westworld. The actor, who also won an Oscar for his role in The Father, has since had roles in the movies The Son, Freud's Last Session, and Zack Snyder's Rebel. For a look at the 86-year-old in his newest role, the trailer for those about to die can be viewed below. We are not clicking that because go to hell, Peacock. I'm not getting this copyright before without a chance in hell of things working out. You know? Let's see. Oh, don't do that to me, old man. I can't do that.
I'll just put it in there in case you want it.
If I wanted to, I could click it right there. Let's see.
Yeah.
I can't risk it. Not this time. I actually hope to get a viewer eventually. Uh, the synopsis for the series reads: Those About to Die is an epic drama set in the corrupt world of spectacle-driven gladiatorial competition. You mean how all elections should be run? Uh, Fight to the death for the job you want. If you can send people to die, you must be willing to die for the job. Um,
Yeah.
Exploring a side of ancient Rome never before told. Oh boy, they're going Caligula. The dirty business of entertaining the masses, giving the mob what they want most: blood and sport. Wait a second, didn't Spartacus do that crap? They're basically describing what they had in that Spartacus series. Oh, we're going to show the spectacle of gladiatorial competition. The Spartacus.
Hmm.
The series introduces an ensemble of characters from all corners of the Roman Empire who collide with at the explosive intersection of sports, politics, and dynastics. From Roland Emmerich, the cast of the series also includes Ewan whatever, Sarah Martins, Tom Hughes, Joe McCurry. What the hell? Hope you die quickly in the show. Mo Huss, Johannes Hawker. What? Johannesson? Rupert Perry
Yeah.
Jones? Gabriel Pessin? I guess? Dimitri Leonidas? Okay, never mind. Shout this is Sparta for me, please. Uh, Emilio, a lot of names here. Okay, a lot of names that I'm just gonna butcher if I keep going. I cannot do this. My brain doesn't work well enough for this. I don't want to offend all y'all, but I just give up. They should have where I can click and oh, it'll pronounce it for you in audio. Okay,
Man, Anthony Hopkins is 87.
yeah, oh boy's hanging in there. I like it. Mm. Emmerich is executive producing with Harold Closer. Uh, how many producers do you need, dude? Emmerich developed the series with Closer in.
Oh no, you can't skip him.
All right, you tell me how how you pronounce this. Grutz Painter. Grutz Painter. Okay, come on, come on, Seabiscuit.
Oh
See what
no,
you
this
can
is your article, not mine.
do. Uh huh. Uh huh. Yeah. Mm. Each directing 5 episodes. What? That is why it's going to fail.
Oh man.
I hate that. They do it all too often.
Yeah.
One damn director. One. That way you don't change it. Just one. We want
Yep.
consistency. You ass clowns. Anthony Hopkins has no plans to retire. Hmm. I hope not. But then again, I wouldn't blame him if he did. Hopkins is keeping busy, and he has no plans to hang it up anytime soon. The actor recently addressed possibility of retirement. He suggested that he intends to continue performing as long as he can, attributing his work as an actor to helping him stay alive. I am aware of my mortalities, as Hopkins said to people. To be realistic, I know that if I have a few more years of work in me, I can do it. So work keeps me alive. I love working. I love being an actor. I love activity. All 10 episodes of Those About to Die will debut July 18th, 2024 on Peacock. Which means I'll be watching it, but somebody else
Yeah.
won't be watching it.
If it could be anywhere else other than Peacock.
Well, you can put it on Paramount, you still have to pay for it.
Oh God.
How about Amazon? Oh, wait, it has commercials now.
Ugh.
Uh huh.
Put it on Netflix. They don't have commercials yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the key word there. Mm. Yeah, you said the key word there. Hmm. Well, do you have anything you've been looking at in particular?
Mm, not at the moment.
Oh, no. Oh, well, there. I don't know if you had any ideas. Because I really, really don't want to go over this one because it's going to be a dumpster fire.
Actually, yeah, I got one.
Oh, well, you're an admin. Go ahead and pop it on up there.
All right, let's see.
And that'll give me time to go get a refill on my tea real quick because my throat is fried. A lot of popcorn today. Ooh, show off.
U.S. scientists are preparing to launch a gas station into space to provide refueling. Concept art there. A spacecraft is being built that could orbit the Earth and aid other ships that need a refuel extending their mission. The Southwest Research Institute in San Antonio, Texas, will build and test a small demonstration spacecraft as part of a $25.5 million space mobility and logistics project funded by the U.S. Space Force, which was created in 2019 by Congress to preserve U.S. space superiority. Led by prime contractor Astroscale, the spacecraft, called the Astroscale Prototype Servicer for refueling, or APS-R, will carry hydrazine propellant from a depot, also in orbit, to spacecrafts running low on fuel. Scheduled to be launched early by 2026, the APS-R can service any spacecraft fitted with a compatible refueling port. Running low on fuel is a common issue for spacecraft in Earth orbit, said SWRI staff engineer Steve Thompson, the SWRI project systems engineer. When they have expended all of their fuel, their mission ends, even though the vehicle may be in otherwise excellent health. A refueling vehicle can extend those missions, and we can get additional lifetime out of the spacecraft that are already in orbit. The APS-R will operate in geostationary orbit around the Earth, meaning it will follow a circular orbit in sync with the Earth's rotational period of 24 hours. Recently, other approaches to life extension have emerged, such as a vehicle that can use its thrusters to push another spacecraft where it needed to go after it runs out of fuel. Thompson said, "A refueling vehicle broadens life extension options with a flexible alternative." Over the next 16 months, SWRI will construct the host vehicle, which is quite small, in the Institute's new processing facility. The maximum dimensions are 24 by 28 and 45 inches when stowed for launch. Damn. And the total vehicle launch mass weighs just 437 pounds, including propellant. Wow. When the host spacecraft is complete, SWRI will integrate the Astroscale supplied payload and perform system-level environmental testing to prepare the vehicle for launch. That's neat. Well, let's see. All right, let's see here. Let's check this one. Hotel excavation reveals medieval castle with moat and stones that look like they were laid yesterday. That's pretty wild. The stunningly well-preserved remains of a castle have been dug up in the French city of Vannes, Brittany, at the foot of the private hotel. The operation was carried out as part of preventative archaeology prior to the construction of the future Museum of Fine Arts of the city of Vannes, and while the owners knew that a medieval structure existed under the Hotel Lagorce, the scope and preservation of it were a grand surprise to everyone involved. The first phase of the project took place between February and April 2023 in the cellars and the courtyard of the hotel, which was originally a private mansion built at the end of the 18th century. The courtyard had been built atop an embankment 13 feet deep. Down below, archaeologists unearthed 2 stones of what was probably a 4-story castle. Dang, that measured 140 feet long, 55 feet wide overall. Connected to additional defensive elements, it would have been even larger. Historical records all but confirm the castle was Chateau de La Hermine, I don't know, constructed by the Duke of Brittany in 1380, following the end of one of many wars between French royals. It was part of a large public works program that doubled the size of the city of Vannes, but was abandoned by the duchy in favor of Nantes in 1470 before becoming ruins in the 17th century. Duchy. I'm going to say duchy. That sounds better. The excavation was handled by INRAP, the National Institute for Archaeological Excavators for the state of France. A central passage connects the north gate, built into the facade in the city side, to another gate framed by 2 large towers that once made up a section of the city rampart overlooking the outer moat, all of which was identified on a very old architectural plans for the city. They unearthed several staircases, including a remarkably well-preserved ceremonial staircase with a decorated core, several intact steps, and a sitting window. In the skeleton of the exterior masonry at the end of the house, the archaeologists also identified a set of latrines and drainage pipes that served the upper 2 floors. Also identified were the foundations of a watermill placed in a very original way at the corner of the castle near the square tower. A canal brought water from the river Marle to drive the mill. The water drained through the moat downstream of a wheel through an opening in the facade, the grill of which has been preserved. Across all recovered masonry, the stones have been remarkably well maintained by the embrace of the wet earth, and in some places appear to have been laid recently. It's so freaky. The drain pipes and latrines were searched manually, but thanks to 580 years of passing time, the workers had only soil and water to dig through. They also performed a deep bore into the former moat, and the two searches yielded hundreds of varied artifacts. Cooking utensils, pots, pans, and wooden crockery, jewelry, a section of coins, padlock, remains of furniture like cabinets and chairs, keys, pins, clothing fragments, remains of the watermill, shoe buckles, and graffiti covered ceramic tiles were all found. Wow, that's wild. All right. Well, with that,
Ooh, what you going over now? Is that?
yeah, it was a medieval castle under a hotel in France.
Ooh,
They excavated it. Look at those near perfect condition.
wow.
The way they laid it there, it's crazy.
Okay.
Yep, I just finished it.
Ah, yeah, sorry that took so long. Got me some hot tea.
No, no
Try to get
worries.
my throat to last a little bit longer.
The old man.
Yeah, I'm getting old, but not as old as you, so I can live with that. Let's see. I can pull up something funny.
All right.
No, it's not. That's because I don't want to punish you. Well, the headline. Well, all right, fine. I find it amusing. I hadn't even read the article, but just the headline is enough, dude. Oh, you can go to hell. Never mind. I won't be doing that because, of course, I am not signing up for your crap. All right.
You're one of those article sites that want you to pay to view the article.
Yep.
Mm.
Well, now, I could go over various things. Like I could have gone over the Stellar Blade stuff, um, the French IGN writer. I'm not going to, mostly because of the fact that the guy baited people. That's all he did.
Hmm.
He baited people into going after it because of he talked about he mocked people saying that the creators had obviously never seen a real woman. Even though it was design. He, but if you read through the article past the like 2 or 3 sentences he had of that, the guy had nothing but glowing praise for the gameplay and graphics.
Hmm.
But basically, he knew how to rage bait people into talking about it. I'll give him credit on that. Ooh. Hey, here's one. Before, because I know I'll go over Regal and Fandom or Fathom events after a few more things. But this one may actually be interesting to you, and it could be a fun one to go over if I can get this video to go to hell. Sorry. At least it's not an ad. It's just a video. But, all right. Here you go. This is from April the 2nd from Dante. All right.
I think so.
John Carpenter's filmography ranked from worst to best.
Hmm.
All right. I have come here to chew bubblegum and rank movies. I'm all out of bubblegum. Well, that's sad. All right. The 1970s and 80s were unarguably the best decade for horror. It introduced viewers to a litany of incredible films, unforgettable characters, and talented actors. I'm sorry, not actors, directors. Well, actors too. It ushered in a new age of practical effects that still hold up today, especially after reading that article on the complaints about Lord of the Rings. CBR, go to hell, CBR. Um, I love practical effects, though. That's my personal preference. If there's one name that stands above the rest, it's John Carpenter, the master of horror, and his DIY approach to filmmaking. The man's legacy is top tier, but even some of his work might not stand the test of time, while others stand above the rest. Which ones? Find out as we rank all 18 of his feature films from worst to best. I don't know why they have a Ghostbusters Frozen Empire thing there, but we'll leave that
Hmm.
alone. I am not going over it because I haven't watched the movie yet, so I am not going to do the. I'm not going to watch anything on it. I'll make my own opinion of it. Note, although they each deserve an honorable mention, this doesn't include the three television films he directed, whether that's Someone's Watching Me, Elvis, or Body Bags. Sorry to everyone who has a special place in your black dead hearts for those. Now pull it. Now put on your sunglasses. Number 18, The Ward, 2010, Arc Entertainment,
Hmm.
Accelerator Media. Was it? Did they release it in Japan or something?
I guess.
No. All right. On the last John Carpenter film to be released is also the least memorable, taking place in 1966 in Rural Oregon. An amnesiac named Kristen, played by Amber Heard,
Oh God.
well, no wonder it's so low rated. She's a terrible actress and terrible human being. Is institutionalized, which most decidedly needs to be done now, after setting fire to a house for reasons that aren't even explained until the end of the movie. You know, oddly, that hits close to home if you think about the fact that she crapped on a bed. Um,
Burn it down.
that's the only way to clean that up. You got to get that filth out of there. Kristen meets a few other women when she enters the ward, all of which come with their own unique and deliberately varying degrees of mental illness, personalities, acting abilities, and attractiveness. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. A dark figure begins attacking the fire starter in the middle of the night. Patients start dying, and the movie becomes something like a cross between Gothica in 2003, Identity, also 2003, and Shutter Island, which I have not watched any of the three. Uh,
I've seen Shutter Island, but that's it.
and I have not watched The Ward either. It's a Japanese poster, yeah. The Ward either, so it doesn't really matter to me. Despite the classic Carpenter atmosphere and camera shots, this movie has no passion, no spirit, also no pun intended. Mr. Carpenter applied his expertise toward the execution, but seemed to phone in the rest. If that's not enough of a red flag for anyone, don't forget that it stars Amber Heard, and some really bad hair extensions. The Ward available to stream on Tubi. Yeah, if you dare. You know, I have Tubi. It's free. Everybody has it. I might as well check it out just to punish myself. God, I hate Amber Turd. Uh, Village of the Damned, 1995. Wow,
Wow, that's been a long time.
I forgot it was that old. Seems like a ripoff of Children of the Corn, just from the pictures, but we'll go from there. The only reason this isn't last is because it's at least somewhat amusing. This is a remake of a 1960 film of the same name, in which an alien force puts a quiet California town to sleep for several hours before everyone regains consciousness. Afterwards, 10 of the women discover that they are pregnant from the phenomena, one of whom is actually a virgin. And they all give birth on the same night. The creepy half alien babies turn into creepy, intelligent half alien children with blonde hair, glowing eyes, a hive minded mentality, and telekinetic abilities. Oh, I
Ugh.
remember that movie. Sounds like something that might be kind of cool, right? Wrong. The film is campy, but not in a good way. Christopher Reeve does his best. Yeah, that was pre horse. And it's always good to see him in anything. But even the Man of Steel wasn't enough to help the film stand on its own. Village of the Damned is like a good 50s movie that's only bad because it came out in the 90s, like the Tim Burton film Mars Attacks in 96. But even worse, Village is available to rent on Prime Video. 16. Ghost of Mars. Oh, that was about to be fire.
Oh, yeah, that needs to be higher.
Oh, wow. Oh, God. This
That's a good
deserves
movie.
to be even lower on the list, but unfortunately, the previous two films exist. John Carpenter returns in the 22nd century in this cross between horror, science fiction, action, and westerns. It takes place on a colonized Mars, and Natasha Henstridge plays a cop who leads her squad along with a gang of convicted criminals against an army of local miners who are possessed by vengeful spirits of native Martians. The acting is terrible, the dialogue cheesy, and there is no plot to find within the multitude of flashback sequences. Ice Cube drones through every line as though he's fully aware of the film's quality and wants to be over just as bad as we do. Wants it to be over just as bad as we do. No kidding. Woo! The great Pam Grier is greatly misused in a supporting role, and to make things worse, her death was off screen. Otherwise, it's exactly what Mr. Carpenter intended it to be, a mindless action film. It received negative reviews from most critics upon release, but since reached cult status among fans, with most praise directed at the film's action and music. Ghost of Mars is another you can rent on Prime Video. Are you gonna go out and click that one, old man? Oh my!
Hmm.
Memoirs of an Invisible Man, 92,
I don't know if I've seen that. Chevy Chase.
and Daryl Hannah. That was around the time period of Splash. Yay!
Hmm.
Loosely based on the 1987 novel of the same name, Memoirs of an Invisible Man about to stock is about a stock analyst played by Chevy Chase who turns invisible during an accidental laboratory meltdown. From there, he goes from trying to cure himself to enlisting the assistance of a way too easygoing new love interest played by Daryl Hannah to help him get rich trading stocks. All this goes down while being pursued by a sinister CIA operative played competently by Sam Neill. This film's big problem is it struggles to decide whether it's a thriller, action film, drama, or comedy without ever fully establishing itself in these genres. And I really
Hmm.
click the trailers, but I don't want to get shafted. All right, Memoirs of an Invisible Man was a box office bomb. The critics hated it, and it's one of the rare Carpenter films to not have a cult following. It's not hard to see why. Aside from a couple of funny moments, the film is a mess with a plot so thin that it's see through. It's hard to tell whether Chevy Chase was a miscast or if he just brought the wrong kind of energy to the role. Remove all thoughts of John Carpenter being involved, and the film comes off as an over the top Fletch sequel that should never have been seen. Sorry, should never seen the inside of the movie theater or Tubi for that matter. Ooh, wow.
Ouch.
Star. Hmm.
Dark Star. Nope, haven't seen that one.
John Carpenter's debut film is a science fiction yarn co-written by him and Dan O'Bannon. It's set in the middle of the 22nd century. The film began as a student project at the University of Southern California and was eventually made into a feature-length feature. Oh God! With the help of Filmex 2 years later. It focuses on the crew aboard a spaceship named Dark Star. A deteriorating, both are deteriorating after 20 years into a mission to destroy unstable planets that threaten the colonization of habitable ones nearby. The ship's equipment is malfunctioning. There are work related fatalities, and the remaining crew have been driven around the bend by their tedious work. They distract themselves to stay sane, all while dealing with constant mechanical errors threatening to permanently end their mission. Is that a beach ball?
With feet?
Webbed feet, no less. This film is far from a masterpiece, even if Quentin Tarantino disagrees. But it's not without charm. The effects may come off as cheesy through the eyes of modern moviegoers, and that is understandable. It takes a certain amount of disbelief suspension to watch a man being attacked by a beach ball in an elevator shaft, or multiple scenes where two AI systems argue with each other. But it's still impressive for a film with only a $60,000 budget. Wait a second. That's in 74. 60,000 was still a lot of money back
Yeah.
then. Nowadays, not so much. It was disliked by critics and ignored by audiences when it was first released, but would eventually find cult status on the video market, like almost every John Carpenter movie, along with heavily influencing future sci fi classics. The
Hmm.
French poster of it. What is that beach ball? Is that a probe?
I don't
Somebody
know.
probe that man with a confetti gun. Hmm. It was the first film to depict a ship jumping into hyperspace, and George Lucas would use the same effects 5 years later in Star Wars. Dark Star was also the inspiration for Dave Holland's Space Cadet, the radio sketches that would eventually turn into the brilliant science fiction comedy sitcom Red Dwarf. It's quirky, eccentric, and a must watch for die-hard fans who can stream it on Tubi pronto. Yeah, Tubi does have some good things on there.
Hmm.
I've started Red Dwarf. Escape from LA. That's only at 13. Oh. Oh, yeah, Escape from New York was better, but still.
Is that the first or second one?
Second one.
Hmm.
Kurt Russell is back as Snake Plissken in this sequel to the 1981 classic. The year is 2013, and Los Angeles has been turned into a prison after a cataclysmic earthquake. If only. This time around, the U.S. president, played by Cliff Robertson, forces Snake to recover a device that was stolen by his daughter, and it can knock out electricity across the entire planet. It's unclear how the first daughter, played by A.J. Langer from The People Under the Stairs, was able to gain access to it, but she nonetheless takes it to her incarcerated revolutionary boyfriend, played by, yeah, is it actually pronounced with G's or are they pronouncing the G's and H's? That makes a big difference. We'll go for Coreface. Okay, no offense. And not Carface. Okay. In LA, this and Snake must get it back before his time is up. It is meant to satirize apocalyptic action films, but also tries to take itself seriously, resulting in an incoherent plot, cartoonish action, and very cringeworthy surfing sequence involving Peter Fonda. Escape from LA received mixed reviews when it was released, but Carpenter still insists that it's superior to the first film. Over the years, it has garnered a following, and time has been a little bit kinder, but it still falls short of its predecessor. Sorry, John. We will always have Max. All right, so it's on Max for that
Hmm.
one. Starman. After showing audiences one of the most malevolent aliens in cinematic history, 2 years prior, Carpenter introduced the complete opposite. Starman is an incorporeal being that comes to Earth after coming across the space probe Voyager 2 and accepting the invitation found on the gold phonograph records. Its ship is shot down by the military when it arrives and crashes in northern Wisconsin. And it comes across the home of a spiraling widow. She's spiraling? All right, named Jenny. It clones the body of her recently deceased husband after finding a lock of his hair, then uses it as a vessel while she watches in terror. Well, yeah, you see, see somebody you know dead come back to life from a hair. Yeah, no, kind of do it. At first, Jenny isn't a willing participant, which results in the start of their journey being a kidnapping. He sets up a rendezvous with his home planet and informs her that if he doesn't get to Arizona in 3 days, he'll die. Instead of going insane, she decides to help him, and they fall in love during their journey. It received positive reviews from critics, but wasn't successful at the box office. Though a unique film, it was very out of character for Carpenter.
Huh.
The setup had the potential to be more familiar shade to be a more familiar shade of bleak. A grieving woman who is on the brink meets a childishly helpless alien who swearing the borrowed body of her dead husband. That could have gone in some messed up directions. Starman is a decent enough date film, assuming you're even able to get one.
Ouch.
Wow, that's cold. And Jeff Bridges crushed his role as the alien, but could have been so much could have been so much more. Judge for yourself on Prime Video. Oh please God. It's just that it is. Vampires in '98. Oh
Yeah.
there's your only reason to watch. Um, James Woods stars in this neo-Western action horror film that is also based on the 1990 novel Vampires, with a dollar sign apparently, by John Stakely.
Hey, John Steakley. He might be the author of that. Remember, I was telling you that book called Armor that was similar to,
Maybe,
reminded me of Starship Troopers.
maybe.
I think that was that author.
Well, you might as well look him up while I'm doing this.
Yeah.
He leads a team of Catholic-funded vampire slayers who roam the lands and hunt nests of the undead in some brutally awesome ways with wooden stakes, guns, and a crossbow which is used to drag them out into the sunlight. They encounter one of the nest's masters and his plan to obtain an ancient crucifix that will grant him invincibility. As far as the story goes, there isn't much there, and none of the characters are good. But that doesn't matter. The film is a well made celebration of B movies and gore. Excuse me. At a time when vampires were all brooding sacks of blood tears weeping from their way through dull immortality because of a goth aesthetic, this film portrayed them as savage creatures that don't mind getting blood all over their fancy Victorian frock coats. Great execution, especially the cinematography. Solid acting, especially Woods. And just enough dark humor without getting too campy. Vampires polarized critics when it was released, with some enjoying the ultra-violent fun, while others rebuked the film's lack of a plot. Like most of Carpenter's films from that decade, he was more interested in mindless entertainment than anything else. This is this one was his best attempt in that regard. Watch it on Netflix if you're thirsty.
I've actually seen that Vampires multiple times. It's pretty good.
I'll check it out at some point. I'm sure I've seen it before,
Christine.
but it's been so long.
Yeah, that's pretty
Christine.
old.
Uh,
That's a good movie.
yes, but I don't like giving credit to this ass clown. All right, in the early '80s, were a magical town. The early '80s were a magical time for horror, and this film combined two people at the height of their creative talent. Carpenter had just completed The Thing, yes, the previous year, and horror writer Stephen King, in such high demand in Hollywood that they could have had a film adaptation from his grocery list. But instead of doing that, Columbia Pictures chose to adapt his novel of the same name, and the film was released a mere 224 days after the book was first published. Damn, that was quick. Taking place in the year 1978, a bullied Californian nerd named Arnold Arnie Cunningham, played by Keith Gordon, comes across a crumbling 1958 Plymouth Fury sitting in the front yard of a rundown house. The owner tells him that the name of the car is Christine. Completely smitten, Arnie buys it for cheap and restores the classic car to its former beauty, all on his own. But as the car changes, so does he. Christine slowly starts coming to life, deciding to show her gratitude by murdering Arnie's bullies. Good car. It was well received by critics and a box office success. While it's not the best work by both men, it's not the worst either. Carpenter may not have put his entire heart into making the film, which he considered just a job, but enough of his spirit is still there. You can stream Christine on AMC Plus right now. Okay.
Hmm.
Prince of Darkness. Oh, God.
I don't know if I've seen that one.
All right. Here we go. The second entry in John Carpenter's Apocalypse trilogy takes place at a Catholic monastery in Los Angeles owned by a mysterious Brotherhood of Sleep. The head of the ancient order, who, who communicate through their dreams, played by the late, great Donald Pleasance. Pleasance? I'm sorry. Really, I'm sorry. Invites a quantum physicist professor, played by Victor Wong, and his students to join him in the basement of the monastery. That started getting dark and creepy. Oh boy, that's getting bad. Catholics inviting students to a basement. Creepy. Uh, the system investigating a cylinder that's filled with swirling green liquid. They decipher the text etched upon the ancient cylinder and learn the terrifying secret of the ooze. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? Uh, it contains the corporal embodiment of the devil, who is the offspring of an even more powerful anti god entity that exists in the realm of antimatter. A mass schizophrenic homeless a mass of schizophrenic homeless people, led by rock legend Alice Cooper, surround the building to prevent anyone from escaping, while the Prince of Darkness possesses the inhabitants and tries to free his father from the other dimension and bring him to Earth. Ah, screw it.
Ooh.
Okay. Well, oh God. All right, I better not go any further. Okay. Mm. They did well at the box office and gained a cult following over the years. Carpenter's mastery of atmospheric tension and apparently blasting somebody with a water hose in the mouth. Um,
I can only hope it was water.
oh, yeah. So we had to take a leak and it just slipped through. Ah! Atmospheric tension is on full display here, along with oppressive musical score to increase the dread. This film is not perfect, not giving Alice Cooper any speaking lines was an act of pure dripping evil. Yeah, but it's still a fun watch that will have your mind pondering bleak thoughts of the unknowns beyond humanity's reckoning. It's on Prime Video. Okay.
Hmm.
In the Mouth of Madness. Didn't you already have a thing with Amber Turd in it? Never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, never mind. Sorry. Next is the final installment of his trilogy and one of the most underrated horror films of the 90s. The ever competent Sam Neill returns to Carpentersville as insurance investigator John Trent. He is hired by a publishing company to track the whereabouts of their client, popular horror author Sutter Kane, played by Jorgen Prochnell. I guess. Oh, thanks, ass. Uh, you saw that coming. The deadline for his new novel is approaching, and it's expected to outsell all previous bestsellers. But they have neither manuscript nor scribe. There's also a rumor about there's also a rumor going around that some readers are going insane after finishing Kane's stories, something which is given legitimacy when Kane's former agent tries to murder Trent with an axe during the meeting before being shot dead by police. Isn't this the one where he was screaming on the bus?
I don't know.
All right. Always the skeptic, John dismisses the whole thing as a publicity stunt and sets out for the town of Hobbs End to find the hoaxer wordsmith. But when he gets there, John's skepticism turns on itself. He begins to question reality and his own sanity before discovering the terrifying truth. Like the other two films in the trilogy, this one gives a salute to Lovecraftian horror and its varying shades of bleakness. It was a box office failure, and critics gave it mixed reviews. But that's not surprising. In the past, a lot of critics didn't like horror, least of all horror movies that made them think. Yeah, that's true. In the
Critics.
Mouth of
Ugh.
Madness, originally well made, well acted, and Carpenter's best film from that decade. Do you read Sutter Kane? No problem, just rent it on Prime. Okay. Assault on Precinct 13. Honestly, I've never watched this one. So.
Me either.
John Carpenter's sophomore effort is a bloody urban western about four paths converging at a south central Los Angeles police precinct that is about to be decommissioned. Newly promoted Lieutenant Ethan Bishop, played by Austin Stoker, I guess. I hope I'm there right. Is put in charge of the precinct and its skeleton crew on the last night before the doors close forever. The local gang has also started a war with the police after six of its members were gunned down. Things escalate when a man exacts revenge on one of the gang members after his young daughter is shot and killed in broad daylight.
Hmm.
Meanwhile, a group of prisoners are being transferred, including a convicted murderer named Napoleon Wilson, played by Darwin Johnston, along with two other inmates. One of them falls ill, and the prison transfer bus stops at the precinct to seek medical attention. The vigilante father is then chased into the precinct by vengeful gang members, and that's when the assault begins. The film didn't do too well at the box office and was met with mixed reviews. Shocker. It would eventually be reappraised and is now regarded as one of the most influential action films of all time. This exploitation masterwork set the rules for great films to follow. It's a slow build up, but worth every second. It's on Tubi. Aha!
Hmm.
Another thing I watch. They Live. Wow. I haven't thought of that movie in a while.
Yeah, I don't know if I've seen that.
Some dub this film a cult classic, while others claim it to just be a cheesy B movie. But some call They Live a documentary. It is based on Ray Nelson's 1963 short story 8 O'Clock in the Morning. The star and stars wrestling legend Rowdy Roddy Piper as a nameless drifter searching for work in an economically crumbling Los Angeles. Hot Rod, playing a guy simply known as Nada, comes across a group that's hiding out in an abandoned church on Skid Row and finds out that they are a government resistance militia who have figured out a horrifying secret. Aliens run the world and control the minds of the masses through subliminal messages. A box of a box of sunglasses breaks the programming and shows him what the world truly looks like. Everything is black and white. How binary. And every magazine and billboard carries a message encouraging humans to sleep, consume, conform, procreate, obey. Hey, what's wrong with the procreate one? Obey authority and worship money. The glasses also show the aliens, hideous bug eyed humanoids with flayed faces and bad wigs, hiding among the population. There is no established time period, but it seems to be set in a not too distant dystopian future, or perhaps it's a contemporary cynical view of the 80s obsession with mass consumerism. God, I forgot what Roddy Piper looked like.
Yeah.
Where's the kilt? It did well, but critics got a critic. It's not the best written film, and the three note music score gets annoying halfway through, but it's still a brilliant concept, one that sadly has more truth to it than fiction. They Live will go on to become celebrated and is forever cemented within the annals of pop culture history. It also contains the greatest bare knuckled street ever recorded. I guess street fight that they screwed up. Ever recorded between Piper and fellow legend Keith David. Yes. Great voice actor. One of the best, Keith David. Today They Live is on Prime Video. Oh, this should not have been at 5. This should have been. This is too good of a movie to do that to it. Why? Why? You better have damn good reason for this only being at 5. Big Trouble in Little China.
There better be 4 great movies after this.
No shit. John Carpenter reunites with Kurt Russell in this comically dark action fantasy that takes place in San Francisco's Chinatown. And for once, not Los Angeles. Restaurant owner Wang Chi, played by Dennis Dunn, enlists the help of Jack Burton, a wisecracking truck driver, to rescue his green-eyed girlfriend from an ancient sorcerer played by James Hong, who needs her to lift a 2,000-year-old curse and grant him the power to rule the universe from beyond the grave. Can I have that stack of money there? The story sounds like something out of a comic book, and the style of the film is no different. It's a wonderful melody of over the top fight scenes, all of the great kung fu cliches, amazing set design, spectacular special effects that only big studio budgets could buy, and a giant hairy monster that looks like somebody threw acid in Chewbacca's face. Like that. Big Trouble in Little China was a box office failure. Go to hell, box office. Despite being well received, but the film exploded when it hit VHS. In the age of streaming, it remains a timeless 80s gem that can be watched repeatedly, especially on AMC Plus.
So many streaming services.
I know. The Fog. I don't agree that that's better than Big Trouble. Sorry. Better have some damn good reasons. In a place where many fans would have listed the previous film, no shit. There's this one instead. It's a mellow ghost story about an ominous glowing fog that drifts into a small town in Northern California, accompanied by the numerous spirits of vengeful leprous mariners.
Leprous miners.
Yeah. Yay. Creepy. Stab me. Boy, did I screw that up. Oh, oh, shafted that one. Okay, thank you, English. Such a fun language. The Fog divided critics, but was still a box office success, and is one of John Carpenter's highest-grossing films. It's It also shows him at the top of his game through the film's atmosphere, rhythm, cinematography, and let's not forget the eerie score. The pacing is slow but effective, just like the just like a burning campfire in the dead of night. Halloween's Jamie Lee Curtis returns with fresh screams, but at least she doesn't have to babysit anyone this time. Horror's original tough guy, Tom Atkins, brings his snarky blue collar charm to the role of Nick Castle, despite not having his trademark mustache. There are ghost stories within this ghost story that keep the viewer hunched forward with their chin in their hands. It's a tribute to American folklore and the classic stories of EC Comics, Tales from the Crypt, Vault of Horror, etc., without going overboard with camp. Adrian Barbell, uh, sorry, yeah, ties off the ending with one of the greatest closing monologues in horror film history, while Carpenter's trusty synthesizer sets the blood chilling tone for a director with such a large collection of vastly underrated films. This minor horror classic remains one of his best. Uh, I
Hmm.
still argue that. I mean, I would honestly replace Escape from New York with. But we'll go over his reasons why. We finally escape the insufferably sunny depths of California and arrive at the dystopian future of 1997. America has become a cesspool of crime and violence, so the government walls off the island of New York City and converts it into a maximum security prison. The president, played by Donald Pleasance, on is on his way to an important summit to prevent World War III when Air Force One is brought down inside the walls of the citywide penitentiary. After an unsuccessful rescue attempt, they cut a deal with soon to be inmate, Special Forces Lieutenant S.D. Snake Plissken, played by Kurt Russell, faces permanent New York citizenship after attempting to rob the Federal Reserve, but is offered a pardon for rescuing President Pleasance and retrieving an important MacGuffin that the commander in chief has carried. All of this he must do within 24 hours, otherwise, the mission is terminated, and so is Snake. It sets up one of the greatest action films ever made. It introduces an iconic cinematic anti hero who trudges through the grimy tradition of urban decay, forced into conflict when all he wants is to be left alone.
Hmm.
A commercial and critical success, it remains a beloved franchise by Carpenter fans who want to indulge in the genre on Prime Video and elsewhere.
Hmm.
The 78 Halloween. Yes. Okay.
Yep.
The slasher genre was born here. 15 years after murdering his sister, knife wielding maniac Michael Myers, played by the masked Nick Castle and unmasked Tony Moran, escapes the incarceration of a sanitarium and returns home to Haddonfield on Halloween. His psychiatrist, Dr. Samuel Loomis, played by Donald Pleasance, he is an He was basically in everything that Carpenter could throw him in. Uh, follows behind when and tries to warn the authorities of the evil that is loose in their town. Jamie Lee Curtis makes her feature film debut as Laurie Strode, the original final girl with a great set of windpipes and potentially a small fortune stashed away from babysitting so much. It received critical it received critical acclaim and is considered one of the most influential horror films of all time. This is what put John Carpenter on the map, and it was the most profitable independent film until the highly overrated Blair Witch Project came along in '99. No shit. I'm sorry, I didn't want to spend most of my time staring up a lady's nostrils. Ugh. God, that movie was funny.
I'm sure you hated the
Halloween,
shaky cam.
uh, Halloween spawned an endless body count of imitators, along with a multitude of inferior sequels. No shit. None reach the same expert level of filmmaking. From the brilliant camera angles, panoramic shots, excuse me, and one can never forget the legendary piano score by John Carpenter. Hell yeah.
Yep.
Uh, the film is an immortal classic and a must watch every October. Trick or treat around AMC this year you might find. Oh,
The Thing.
yes. All right.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I can agree with the thing being at number one.
Yep.
Let's see. Let's go over his reasoning why. Antarctica, 1982. This is the setting for John Carpenter's sci-fi horror masterpiece. An American research team led by J.C. Regular. That was his name? I forgot that was his name. Kurt Russell confronts a hostile extraterrestrial organism that consumes its victims before perfectly imitating them. It is an invader that would wipe out all of humanity if it ever reached a populated area. As a winter storm rolls over the Arctic outpost, the team, with great performances by Keith David, yes, and Wilford Brimley, Diabetes, is overcome by paranoia, and tensions escalate as they quickly learn to distrust each other. There's no telling who is the thing or how many are still human, and the ultimate tale of isolation, helplessness, and alien terror. At the time when moviegoers were having their heartstrings pulled out by friendly aliens like E.T., which came out only 2 weeks prior,
Oh god.
damn, nobody seemed to be ready for such a harsh take on them. Critics panned the film for its nihilism, bleakness, graphic violence, and everything else that makes it amazing. It wasn't a failure at the box office, but not a blockbuster either. Like most of the films on the list, it found life on the home video market. It has since been reappraised and is now considered by many to be one of the greatest horror films ever made. The heavily criticized gore is now praised for its groundbreaking special effects.
Hell yeah.
This is the first entry in Carpenter's Apocalypse trilogy, which heavily draws which draws heavily from works of H.P. Lovecraft. People are being confronted by entities beyond their comprehension, forcing them to examine humanity's place in a cold and indifferent universe. The thing does a perfect job of capturing that essence. A remake of the 1951 classic The Thing from Another World, both of which are based on the 1938 novella Who Goes There? by John W. Campbell. This is one of the rare occasions where a remake surpasses the original film and it's Carpenter's finest hour.
I didn't know there was the
Yep.
original. Or, what do you call it?
But yeah. So I do have a little contention with the order of things.
Yeah.
I would definitely, I would put Escape from New York probably at 4, Big Trouble at 3 because I don't mind the last two, Halloween and
The Thing.
The Thing are in the right spots as far as I figure.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
And I was looking up while you were reading that that John Steakley, that author.
Uh-huh.
I looked at his wiki page, and apparently he only ever wrote 2 books. One was Armor, and the other is Vampires.
Huh. Well, damn.
So yeah, I need to get Vampires and read it.
Well, as much as I'd like to go on, because I guess we'll make up for it next. I guess next Sunday we can go over some of the upcoming movies from the Fathom events.
Oh yeah.
But my throat's about to give out. The pollen has got me tore up today, and it's only going to get worse tomorrow. So,
yeah, it was a good night.
Yeah. But anyways, thank you to anybody who watched. Definitely be back next Sunday. Hopefully we'll have. I'll remember to do things, to get things in order. Hopefully we will get old man's picture swapped out for Tim the Enchanter.
Oh yeah.
And anyways, thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a pleasant evening, day, evening, whatever it is for you. And we'll talk to you in the next one.
Have a good night.